you're joining from there. Nice to meet you, Mariam. All right. So I'll just share my screen. Mama, I'll just share my screen so I introduce you. Then the floor will be yours. All right. Okay. All right. Can everyone see my screen, please? Can everyone see my screen? Please, you can unmute and just let me know so that I'll be sure we are all together. Hi. Okay. Okay. All right. Great. All right. So it's a privilege for us to have our facilitator. This is our second time in our community. She was here last year, and seriously, we could see the difference in the debate challenge. During the debate challenge, there was a lot of improvement because when she came and she gave the training, many of us took it in and worked on it, and the output was outstanding. And that's why we're like, we can't just leave this warehouse of knowledge. We will need her again so that this year will be greater than what it was last year. So it's my privilege to introduce Miss Taiwo Olaweyimi. I don't know if I'm correct. Olaweyimi is a strategic consultant, social impact leader, and executive communication coach with expertise at the intersection of health systems, business strategy, leadership, and African development. With a career spanning global consulting, healthcare, private equity, venture capital, and multinational organizations, she has developed and delivered presentations to senior executives, investors, development partners. She is also the co-founder and lead of Pharma Incubation Hub, a Pan-African career accelerator operating across 15 African countries, where she equipped pharmacist graduates with leadership, business, and career development skills. She also coached early and mid-career professionals in executive communication and public speaking, and regularly speak at conferences on healthcare strategy, leadership, growth, and purpose-driven professional development. She holds a pharmacy degree from the University of Ibadan and an MBA from Vanderbilt University's Owen Graduate School of Management, where she served in several leadership roles. Her achievements include being named a Forte Fellow, West African Young Leadership Fellow, Ashoka Changemaker Scholar with Distinction, and recipient of the 2026 Anchor Award for Best Overall Graduate Student. As a trainer, she combined practical experience, engaging facilitation, and proven communication framework to help participants become confident, authentic, and impactful in their professional life. With this, can we just join our hands together and welcome her. Thank you, Ma, for being. Thank you so
Hi,
much.
Eureka. Hi, everyone. Thank you very much for having me. I'm delighted to be here. I hope you're all doing great.
Oh, yeah, no
Hello
good.
from Nashville, Tennessee, in the US. It's about 7:10 a.m. on my end.
She's showing us.
But I always enjoy having the opportunity to speak with young professionals, students, especially those with a background in healthcare or who are passionate about healthcare. So yeah, very delighted to be here. Thank you. Today, I will be speaking about how to build effective arguments and how to persuade effectively. And I know that this is a continuation of the ongoing curriculum that you have. So today I will be facilitating modules 3 and 4. And I hope that through the learning experience, we will be able to improve our persuasion skills. We will be able to improve our critical thinking skills and hopefully win arguments and win people over through the power of our arguments. All right. Whenever you think about people who are great speakers and people who are not, what comes to mind? What's the differentiator? Oh, confidence. Yes. Uh, People who are not great speakers easily get nervous. They probably don't prepare well. What else stands them out? I think structure is one thing that stands out good speakers from not so good speakers. Think about anybody whom you've identified as a good speaker. They more often than not are skilled at structuring their presentations. You may not, it may not be evident at first, but if you patiently dissect what they say, you'll see some elements of structure. It's as simple as so. Why do you think this is a great idea? I think this is a great idea for 2 reasons. Or I think this is a great idea for 3 reasons. First, it does blah, blah, blah. Second, it's valuable because of blah, blah, blah. And third, it empowers blah, blah, blah. Structure. So whenever you think about elevating your speaking, if you forget anything in today's session, do not forget the power of structure. You want to be able to speak articulately. You want to win an argument. You want to win someone over, structure your thoughts. And it also means that you need to take some time to pause, say nothing, gather those rambling thoughts in your head, and communicate them. Today, we'll learn a few structural frameworks that we can apply to persuasive speaking. It's not only for debates. You should immerse yourself in the learning experience and embody them even in your day-to-day speaking, because that's how you build the muscle and you prepare yourself for the bigger opportunities. From a digital health perspective, success as a digital health innovator, entrepreneur, founder, change maker is not only about building the technology. You want to ensure that you move from idea to market. You want to ensure that you drive audience adoption, market adoption for your idea. And in getting to that point, you need to persuade different stakeholders, your target audience, clinicians, if they're part of, most likely they will be a part of that workflow. The hospital management, investors, you're trying to pitch for some funding, investors, regulators. These are some key stakeholders that you need to commit to persuading. You need to commit to winning them over. And when you go to them, you want to have solid arguments. You want to be prepared. You want to be logical. You want to be convincing, compelling. And it takes a lot of preparation to be able to do that. Moving from that point where you've got your idea to articulating the evidence behind your idea, or you have a solution that is going to help to reduce maternal mortality by 25% in Nigeria or in sub-Saharan Africa. You want to come with some evidence. What does the data say? What do peer review articles say? you're coming with evidence. And you want to link that technical evidence or that real life evidence to persuasion. Think about Madame Peace. Madame Peace has two daughters under the age of 5. You see, you're relating it to human experiences. You're relating that technical evidence that you have to human evidence that one can relate to because everyone has some Madam Peace in their area, on their street, in their church, in their mosque. When you can relate it to somebody that people can connect with, that helps you to create that emotional connection. And ultimately, it can help you to commit people to adopt your product, invest in your solution, and so on and so forth. Because ultimately, you want to get to that journey, to that point where people adopt your product. So you come with technical evidence, you create some emotional connection in a manner that is relatable, and you highlight the impact. How many lives will be changed when we take on the solution? What is the big picture improvement that we can anticipate with this solution? That's something to think about. Whenever you think about communicating your ideas, whenever you think about engaging stakeholders, whenever you think about handling objections from people who may not think in similar lights as you. If you had to build the best case argument for your idea, for your solution, you need to come with a claim. What's your bold claim? Your bold claim is that, for instance, remote monitoring must be integrated into standard care. Why? Why is that important? Why is that important? What data, clinical trials, or real-world usage supports your position? Oh, through connected devices, we're able to track patients' data in real time. We can track their blood pressure, we can track their blood sugar level, we can easily prevent hypertensive emergencies, we can easily prevent near-death experiences. You want to come with evidence because we are in the healthcare ecosystem. We want to work with science, with data. That's important. Why does this evidence of yours directly support your claim? You want to link that technical evidence with your claim. That's how you build a compelling argument. And remember, you want to link it to impact. So let's not forget. Claim, evidence, the warrant of that evidence, and its linkage to impact. Because everybody wants to see the big picture. How does it matter to the patient? How does it matter to the clinician, to the doctor, to the pharmacist, to the nurse, to the medical lab scientist, to the physiotherapist, to the dentist, to the microbiologist? How does it matter to the broader healthcare ecosystem? So these are things to think about when you want to pitch an idea, when you want to share an argument. And you can use this in day-to-day speaking as well, even outside of healthcare. You have a strong position, a strong opinion regarding something. What's that opinion? Why do you believe that opinion? What's the evidence that can be used to back that claim? How does it relate to that claim? And what's the bigger picture of that idea that you have or that position that you have? By following this simple structure framework, remember what I told you at the start. Great speakers win arguments by structure, not just by confidence. Confidence is great. Not just by preparation. Preparation is great. Not just by having good ideas. Good ideas are great. But structure wins argument because structure helps you to have a clear logic. You have a good logical flow that helps your listeners to follow what you're saying. That's important. You wouldn't lose your audience because you have thoughtfully curated your thoughts, curated your argument. It's easier to follow with your claim. What's your strong position? What's the evidence that you have? What's the warrant? How does that evidence relate to the claim? And what's the bigger picture in terms of impact? You can also test your argument. Oh, how can you explain why this position is true? Or we need all hospitals should have an online pharmacy platform. Instead of patients going down to the pharmacy, they should be able to order their medications from the hospital pharmacy platform and deliver right into the ward or at home. Why is that important? You need to be able to back it up. Why? It is true or it is necessary because of point one, point two, point three. You should be able to simply explain your position. If you can't simply explain your position by passing the because test, then maybe you need to think harder about why you're holding that position in the first place. Another way to assess or test your argument is the so what test. Okay, can you explain why the audience should care? Why should the hospital management care about patients' ability or ease of patients to order medications through the hospital pharmacy platform? Why is that necessary? Why is it relevant? Why? Answering the why question. So think about any idea that you currently have, any bold position that you currently have. Does it pass the because test? Is your logic validated? That's important. As healthcare students or emerging healthcare change makers and leaders, we are always stakeholder focused. The patient, the clinician, or the healthcare professional, the hospital management, the investor, the regulator. Especially in the age of AI, some of you probably have ideas around how artificial intelligence can be used to improve certain healthcare processes. Fantastic. Regulation is important. In Nigeria or in Africa generally, there are no clear and firm regulations around artificial intelligence in many climates, including in healthcare. But as advances in artificial intelligence continue, you will begin to see stronger, clearer lines of regulation. And you must be able to win the regulator over. You must think with that in mind, because safety is always a key concern in healthcare. So, how are you going to answer questions around safety, around compliance? How are you going to answer questions around growth and returns for your idea, your solution? How are you going to answer questions around how your idea improves efficiency and improves patient outcomes? Are you going to answer ideas around bridge of trust, potential bridge of trust with your idea, access to healthcare, the efficacy of your solution? When you think about these questions, they help you to build a credible argument. Some of you know Zipline. Zipline operates in Africa, in Rwanda, I believe in Ghana, and in Nigeria. And what they do is drone delivery of healthcare supplies, medicines, blood supplies, and so on. In order to scale their operations, they couldn't just show that a drone could fly. That's not enough. They had to persuade stakeholders that it was a safe process, it was a sterile process, and it was worth integration into their national budget. That's important. Those are the realistic issues that you need to think about in building a credible argument for your idea. So if we use the claim, evidence, warrant, and impact structure, the claim would be, yeah, drones should be integrated into the national blood network because of one, two, three. Remember why because test as well. Why is this important? What's the evidence? Oh, there is evidence that road delays could threaten emergency survival. Yes, but you should also back that up with data. According to the National Institute of Health, according to the National blah, 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 blah. Evidence, data. The number of people who are lost to preventable deaths as a result of delayed access to care. Won't you use numbers? Why is this important? What's the relevance of that number, of that fact or statistic? You want to show the warrant. And the bigger picture, the impact. Oh, if we're able to shorten the delivery time, facilities can keep patients alive. They can cut wastage in healthcare. They can do blah, 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 blah. We can impact 50 million Africans. We can increase survival rate of Africans by 25% using numbers. Doesn't that sound structured? It sounds logical. It sounds well put together. And that's how you want to start conditioning your mind to think. Okay, think about the implementation of emergency health records. The issue is that digital records really, really already spark clinical resistance. People are not open to change. Sometimes they also add extra burdens, data entry. They are disrupting established workflows. These are some objections that you might have if your idea is around something like this. These are some objections that people will have. What will be your counter argument to that? And people say, oh, EHR systems are not efficient, especially when you're introducing them to hospital systems that have established workflows. You want to talk about the ease of your idea. Oh, it's not difficult to implement at all. That's how you manage the objection of people. I think somebody's writing on my screen. That person needs to stop. Great. And an angle you can utilize is this. People rarely resist technology just because they dislike change. You need to know that. They resist technology because it introduces unaddressed real-world friction. So that's the objection that people have to anything technology, digital health. In building your argument, you need to ensure that your argument answers or attends to the friction that people may experience through the introduction of your idea. You want to then propose a solution. How do you manage the situation? Co-designing with the users, co-designing with the clinicians, co-designing with the hospital system. That's something to think about. That's something to think about. So I encourage you to start thinking about the idea that you have with the framework we've learned. How are you going to share that idea with someone or with this class? Using the claim, evidence, warrant, and impact structural framework. You share that with us in this class. More on how you handle objections. You want to clarify what the objection is. Somebody asks you about cybersecurity concerns with your digital health solution. You can ask them to clarify. Oh, could you expand on the concerns you have regarding cybersecurity, safety of this idea? We want to better understand it. Do not dismiss or discard their position, because that's important. You need to listen, you need to ask questions to clarify. You need to acknowledge their point. Validate the legitimate operational reality. That, oh yeah, yes, indeed, I do agree. That's an entirely valid concern that you have regarding patients' data, regarding physician workflow. However, you then come with your own idea. However, we utilize so and so and so technology or approach in order to manage the situation. You see, you've acknowledged them. You then come with your own argument or rebuttal, as it were. You respond with your position, with your clear position. How are you mitigating that challenge? And then you pivot back to the bigger objective. Link them to the bigger picture or the more relevant question in that matter. The core question here is really how we minimize risks while expanding access. Don't shoot yourself in the foot and say, oh, we are not here to solve that problem. Oh, no, 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 no. That's not a good approach to articulate your rebuttal. Respond to the question, but quickly link back to the bigger picture, to the broader goal for the patient, for the healthcare professionals, and the hospital system. How can you systematically rebut an objection or a counter opinion or argument? You can challenge the evidence. You can question the quality of their position or the scope of their position, or maybe they're providing some data. We can dive deeper into, okay, is this data relevant to what you're trying to say? Challenge their evidence, but within reason. Can challenge the reasoning of their idea. But that means you also must think critically in order to find those loopholes in what someone else has said. You need to be very prepared. You need to have studied widely. You need to know your idea in and out so that you can challenge the reasoning of the other person, can challenge the assumption, can challenge the impact that they are referring to, and do a comeback by linking to your own position, to your own idea, and the bigger picture impact of your solution. I hope that's clear. You can type in the chat. Let me read from you. Type in the chat. Let me read from you. Are we together? I'd like to read from you. Are we together? Fantastic. Thanks, Michael. Thanks, Miriam. Good. Thanks, Ree. Good. Thanks, Amy. Thanks, Ramatala. Thanks, Malby. Good. All right. How can we persuade someone? You can persuade with your structured arguments, your logical arguments, with that framework we've mentioned. What other strategies can you use to persuade someone? Yes, your data, the logic of the idea, available research on the idea. Aside trying to persuade them from the mind, you can also persuade them with your character, your credibility, ethos. So say you have a medical degree. People respect you. They respect what you say because you have a medical degree. You're a medical doctor, you're a pharmacist, you're a dentist, a healthcare professional, you're working on a healthcare case. You're leading a healthcare innovation. People will listen to you. Why? Because you have that credibility. You have that medical degree, credential, certification, and so on. And as you lead a company, the culture of your company would also impact how people perceive you. Are you committed to transparency? Have you instituted valuable safeguards, especially around patients' data security and things like that? How else can you convince or persuade people? Through the heart, emotional storytelling, emotional connection, sharing patients' experiences. And we do that a lot at Advantage Health Africa, where I worked. My Medicines, our online pharmacy platform, we use a lot of patient experiences, talking about how we are able to cross many miles in order to get a medicine delivered to a patient who really needs it, especially a scarce medication. We use a lot of patient stories. And that's one of the things that have been, well, that's one of the things that has, one of the things that have made Advantage Health Africa very successful, our storytelling approach. So you're a healthcare professional. Don't say they didn't teach me storytelling in pharmacy school, in medicine school, in medical school, in dental school, in nursing school. You learn it. You learn storytelling in writing, in speaking. You want to win a grant, you want to win some funding. It's storytelling. Think about your big idea. What are the relevant day-to-day stories that you can draw out? How does your solution impact the patient, your target audience? How would lives be changed when they use your solution? Draw patient stories. Maybe your solution is going to improve efficiency, help healthcare professionals improve efficiency. You want to refer to stories of clinician burnout. That's a story you can draw out. So when you leverage these three key pillars of rhetoric, logos, ethos, and pathos, you want to approach it from the mind. What are the mind blockers that people have? Attack it with data, with logic. What are the character blockers that people may have regarding this idea? You come with your credentials, your credibility. What are the emotional blockers people may have? Attack that with emotional connection, storytelling, and you'll be on your way to success. You'll be on your way to success. You want to show empathy, and empathy is something that is always referred to from time to time in design thinking, in innovation, in healthcare. And one way to have empathy really, or to demonstrate empathy really, is to place the patient front and center. How does your solution impact healthcare? How does it improve the quality of life of the patient? You want to use numbers to show that. Look at this. Our pilot demonstrated an 18% increase in compliance, but the true value becomes clear when we look at an actual patient. You see? Patient front and center, who no longer has to travel 3 hours just to receive a routine adjustment. That's how this solution improves the quality of life of the patient. It helps the patient to save time. It helps the patient to receive a routine medication quickly, easily. Access to care, speed of care. There's no way you place the patient front and center that you wouldn't demonstrate empathy. You will. You will. That's something to always think about. Beyond having those ideas, beyond building a good logic, beyond building a good rebuttal to your audience's objections, body language is also a key aspect of effective communication. You're standing to speak. Do you have a stable, comfortable posture? Or are you pacing aimlessly on stage, back and forth? You need to learn how to use your stage. You need to learn how to use your hands, your gestures, your face, eye contact. Very important. You don't want to be fidgeting with the clicker for your presentation or your dress or your shirt. You want to know when to smile and when not to smile. A smile can be very powerful when you're saying something. It can also be irrelevant. Say you're discussing something that is harmful. Why are you smiling? That doesn't make sense. It doesn't align. So you need your body language to be aligned to what you're saying. You don't want to be reading your slides. You want to speak from the heart. And we see these things. You can pick these things when you listen to speakers. You know a speaker that stands out and the one that doesn't. We easily get bored by the ones that come to read their slides to us. Yes. And we get inspired by those who speak from their heart. Those who show good knowledge, sound knowledge. The same way you feel inspired and motivated by lecturers, sound knowledge, who is able to articulate their thoughts in a manner that is relatable. That's the way your stakeholders could get inspired by you when you speak from the heart. Yeah, you come with your technical knowledge, you speak soundly, but intelligently in a manner that is relatable. Yes, the same way. It's the same way. It's the same way. This session will not be complete if I do not highlight anxiety. No one is immune to anxiety. We are all humans. Even the best of speakers manage some form of anxiety. But you need to know nobody knows you're nervous unless you begin to show it. Nobody knows you're scared unless you begin to show it. So how do you combat that anxiety? Prepare, 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 prepare. Rehearse. Ask friends and colleagues to listen to you present. Tell them to throw questions at you, to throw objections at you, and you force yourself to think quickly in a short period of time to respond to those objections. Because when you're in that boardroom with those key stakeholders, you wouldn't have an hour, 2 hours, 10 hours to go back, find the answers. You need to think critically and think fast. And there are tools online you can use. There's a video on YouTube, Think Fast, Talk Smarter. You can watch that. There are tons of TEDx videos on communication that you can watch. There are books on communication that you can read. Improve your mindset. Know that you can use that anxiety, that fear as a fuel for yourself, for your success. Because anxiety is that, well, fear is not always bad. It means that, oh, that moment is important to you. That idea, that solution, that innovation is valuable to you. It matters to you. What should you do with that emotion? Channel it into doing your very best, showing up your very best. Some of you have filler words. You deal with filler words. Some of you don't even know that you use filler words when you speak. How do you know it? Give yourself a prompt, a question to answer. Record yourself for a minute or two. Listen. Do you use like in less than a minute you've used and likes for about 8 times, 10 times? You need to watch it. You need to watch it. You need to watch it. You use basically, basically, basically. And any word can be a filler word. Any word that you use repetitively, unnecessarily. Because the truth is, when you remove a filler word from a sentence, a phrase, it's actually relevant because the sentence will then sound sharper without the filler word. So a filler word is unnecessary in the first place. And it's usually a response to blackout of the mind. So you're trying to speak, but you can't quite place the next word to say. So you use to fill in that void. But how do you manage it? By simply saying nothing instead of saying the filler word. So you're trying to speak, and the filler word is about to pop out of your mouth. You stop yourself and say nothing because pauses are also valuable. Yes, it's good to speak, keep on speaking, but it's also good to shut up and say nothing for a second or two, not for too long. Otherwise, it will seem like you forgot your lines. But you can pause for a second or two. Because when you pause, you then force your mind, force your brain to think about the next best word to say in alignment with what you're trying to share. So you want to eradicate your filler words, be comfortable with silence, be comfortable with pauses for a second or two, and you continue what you're trying to say. It takes a lot of commitment to do this, intention to do this. You have to watch it. You have to watch out for your filler words and stop yourself from saying them. It could take a while, but it's worth it because it can sound very irritating when you hear someone use a lot of filler words within a short time. It can be irritating because I will then be anticipating them using that filler word because I have heard it for too long. So when you speak, I know a filler word is coming. You see, it detracts from from the value of what you're trying to say, what you're trying to share. Because I'm now fixated on your filler word as opposed to the gist of what you're trying to share. So you want to be a better communicator, watch out for your filler words. Prepare, prepare, prepare. That's important. And I know if you have a 10-minute presentation, it may not be reasonable or feasible to write out a 10-minute speech, rehearse it, and go pour it out to the audience. No. Remember, you also want to speak from the heart. You don't want to speak as if you crammed what you're going to say. That's why you should have core structural ideas, bullet points that will serve as guideposts for you when you speak. That way, you don't need memorized scripts. Yes, know your introduction. How do you want to start? Know your conclusion. How do you want to start? Know a bit about the body, or what examples do you want to use? What references do you want to use? What inferences do you want to make? What data do you want to allude to? Fantastic. What real life examples or scenarios do you want to share? But you don't need everything planned word for word, line by line. You just need the core structural ideas. That way, you'll have a better flow. That way, you'll be more relatable because you're not trying to pour out some crammed speech. You can speak from your heart. And that way, even if you forget the next thing you're trying to say, you can retrace your steps because you already know the core structural ideas you're working with. You're not working with the script. And ultimately, you want to focus on the people. You're anxious? Fantastic. Remember, anxiety can be for good. And more than that, think about what you're trying to share and the people who are going to be there to listen to you. Because everyone who will be there is anticipating to learn from you. They would like to learn from you. Did anybody come to this meeting, this session, expecting me to fail? Or expecting me to say something that wouldn't be valuable? No, you came here expectant, hopeful that you will learn something new. Yes, that's the spirit. Whenever you have an opportunity to speak, remember that your audience looks out for you. Your audience anticipates your success, not your failure. So, whenever you feel anxious, shut that fear down because you know that your audience is looking forward to hearing you. So what do you do in return? You prepare, you do your best, you show up your best, and yes, you hope that your best will be enough. And the more you do that, the better you become. The more you do that, the better you become. The more you do that, the better you become. And the more power you will wield over your mind, over anxiety, over fear, over stage fright. I hope this has been valuable for someone. As we draw closer to the end, think about how you would share your idea. What problem are you solving? To whom? Why is this important? What's the evidence that this is a real issue? What solution are you trying to pitch? Why is this solution valuable? What aspect of the problem are you trying to solve? What evidence is available to show that your solution works? Credibility, ethos, remember? Why are you uniquely qualified? If you look at any pitch deck, there's usually a meet the team slide where you show the credentials of the team members. So this person comes with 10 years experience in technology, SaaS, blah, 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 healthcare, cybersecurity, whatever. It's always there. Hmm? Oh, this person is X Andela, X PwC, X KPMG. It's written there because the companies this person has worked at, the universities this person attended, the industries this person worked on, all of these form the credibility. Someone comes to speak to you and this person previously worked at Microsoft or Google. Wouldn't you want to listen to them? Of course, because of the brand. That's why you must position yourselves to work in good places. Huh? That's important. Position yourself to work in those quality places so that when you get an opportunity to speak, that background, that experience gives you some credibility. Position yourself to go to good schools. Because when you go to those good schools and you say, oh, X University of Ibadan, no sorry to people from other schools. I'm a UI alum, first and the best. And when you attend the University of Ibadan, UI alum, people want to listen to you because it's a top school, wonderful school, first and the best. Or you go to Harvard, you do an MPH at Harvard, Yale, ex-Harvard, or not ex-Harvard, technically, you say a Harvard MPH alum, a Yale MPH alum, an MIT alum, everyone wants to listen to you because they know you come with that brand name, that credibility. It's not just for you, for every member of your team. So when somebody wants to pitch a solution for funding, there's always a meet the team slide for credibility sakes. It's not just for you to have nice pictures of you and your team there. No, it's for you to show, to spotlight the credibility of your team. Impact. What impact will your solution bring to the patient, to the broader healthcare system? What's your ask? What action would you like the audience to take? Do you want them to buy your solution? Do you want them to invest in it? You want them to adopt it? You must have a call to action at the end of your pitch, at the end of your presentation. That's important. Again, don't forget, let your target audience be front and center. You're trying to introduce your idea, and you say, "Oh, we're an innovative, paradigm shifting health tech company, leveraging artificial intelligence, machine learning, and decentralized blockchain systems to disrupt the modern healthcare ecosystem." That's fantastic. Sounds great. I mean, I could use this. I could, but it doesn't have a lot of impact. If I ever use this, I will support it with something else that is relatable because this line is not relatable. It's nice, sounds great, yes, but what really drives the emotional connection and the action is being audience focused, highlighting the problem that the audience is facing and how you are potentially solving the problem. Look at the other. Community pharmacies lose, you can say, every year, community pharmacies lose 25% of your revenue. This is critical revenue for the pharmacies. They lose this because they can't track medication availability in their stores. Our platform connects real-time inventory systems with incoming requests from patients over the counter and patients from online platforms that these pharmacies may be situated in, helping the target client or target patient to find medicines instantly while the pharmacies capture their demand effectively. So we create a win-win situation for pharmacies so that the pharmacies no longer lose their revenue and the patients have speedy access to life-saving medications. How does that make you feel? Doesn't that sound more relatable and impactful? That's the kind of effect you want to create when you pitch your idea, when you share your solution, when you build an argument for a solution. It is clear, it is relatable, and it's structured because there is a problem, there is a solution, there is a potential impact of that solution. Can even infuse numbers. Do you see? So you're attacking it from different angles. There is no way you would not build a solid argument if you implement this way. Pulse check. What do you think? How is it going? Are you getting it? Is this confusing? Is this clearer for you? I'd like to hear from you. Fantastic. Thanks, Michael. Thanks, Miriam. Great. So when you hear someone's argument, you hear a pitch, for instance, or somebody is sharing an argument, how do you evaluate the quality of that argument? Are they clear? Are they logical? Do they have evidence infused in that argument? Do they come with some authority? In this class, when we go ahead to share, to do a practice in this class, we want to listen for the clarity, problem clarity. Are they clear on the problem they're trying to solve? Especially with an innovation. They have a logical argument for that solution. They have evidence. Are they aligned to the audience they're trying to serve? They come with some authority. I believe we all have some degree of authority if we have a healthcare background. That's a good one for a start. To start thinking, if you like to practice with us, pick an idea that you want to pitch. Pick an argument that you want to share. And ensure that you meet these different criteria. We'll be lenient, don't worry. We will be lenient. So whenever, as you go out to speak, ensure that your argument is clear, it is logical, it is backed up with evidence, that you have that clear claim, evidence, warrant, and link it to the bigger picture and impact. You're clear on your audience. You listen to the objections of your listeners, and you handle it with care, using the framework that we spoke about. And you want to deliver it effectively, calmly, using steady pauses. Your posture is stable. You use your voice well. You are not difficult to hear. You're not monotonous. You vary your voice tone. You vary your voice volume. You vary your voice pitch. If you listen to me intently, you'll see how I vary that. Some parts are louder, some parts are toned down, some parts are faster, some parts are slower. When you use these effects, you sound better. Your words land better. It's not enough to have a great solution. That solution of yours must be thoroughly understood before it can be accepted, before it can be trusted. That's important. As you build your career as a healthcare professional, ensure that you have your communication toolkit. You build that as well. And that's why you're in this fellowship. That's why you're in this training. Because you know that being persuasive is not always about speaking loudly. It's not about being the loudest in the room. It's likely about being logical, being structured in your reasoning, and helping others to follow that reasoning. Those are the people with the real power in the room. You have ability to structure your thoughts, and you can help other people to follow your reasoning. Remember, great communicators don't win because they talk more. The goal of being a better communicator isn't to be a talkative. No. It's to think more clearly. It's to structure your ideas better. And it's to be more thoughtful in your responses, even under pressure. That's when you become better. And that's when you win. I hope this has been valuable for you. Thank you very much. I'll let you ask any questions you have before we do our little practice. Thanks, Pascal. Nice to know that it was insightful. Do share your thoughts in the chat, or you can raise your hand if you want to speak. Do you have any key takeaways from this class? Questions that you'd like me to answer? Let me know.
Thank you so much, our facilitator. It was so super insightful. As I brought my pen and jotter also, I had a lot to take notes, which I will implement. Thank you so much. So we are still in question and answer time. If you have any question before we go into the practical session, just put it in the chat box, ask, so that our facilitator, she's here to take in all our questions while we prepare for the practical session. And as she said, we are lenient. We are not looking for perfection. Come as you are. We are here to refine it. So I don't know. Do we have any question yet? Do
Don't
we
be
have...
shy. If you don't have a question, tell me what are your key takeaways? What did you take away from the class that you will like to implement in future?
Good afternoon, ma. Good
Good
morning, ma.
afternoon.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you so much for this class. I really gained a lot, and this showed me a new perspective of things, especially on how to pitch ideas and move things forward. So the first question I wanted to ask is part of what you did emphasis on in the beginning was how do one build these structures that you said over time, from is it from practice, or how do one build these structures realistically and not just okay, yes, I want to build these structures, but you don't know how to do this, implement it. That's one of the questions I have for now. And you mentioned something on how to reply or give instances under pressure. Do one practice beforehand on the likely questions to be asked, or how do one still give reliable responses to whatever questions that comes up under pressure?
Absolutely. Great. Thanks for sharing with me.
Thank you.
You see, I'll start from your second question. How does one prepare to respond to questions under pressure, especially objections? Okay, now I don't feel pressured right now, but you just asked me a question that I didn't know was coming, or I wasn't sure was coming. It's part of impromptu speaking. I'm going to attempt to answer your question. What will help me answer your question well is first and foremost preparation. Did I prepare for this class? If I prepared for this class, I would have an idea of what to say to respond to the question. If I don't know the full answer to your question, I can pick the part that I know and focus on it while choosing not to dwell on the part that I don't know. That's how to do better in such situations. First is to be prepared. Be prepared so that you have something to draw from when you're asked questions. You should anticipate the questions of the audience, the objections of the stakeholders, and have answers for them. You have a digital health solution, you know that one key objection is usually around patients' data safety. Yes. How are you going to answer that? You must have prepared for that. What about questions that you never anticipated? You calm down. If you're not sure what the question is about, you clarify. Remember what they said about care. You clarify it. You acknowledge what they have said. Then you relate it to your own position or idea. And then you link it back to the bigger picture or impact you're trying to make. So preparation is important, number one. Second is stay calm. You're under pressure. So stay calm. Stay calm. You know what to say. You have what to say. Some of us are usually ruffled because we think we don't have what to say. We do have what to say. So be calm. Because when you're calm, you're able to gather your thoughts. And the truth is, you don't need to speak for 5 minutes trying to respond to a question. It can be a brief response. It can be a 45-second response. It can be a 1-minute response. And in that response, you want to be sharp and articulate, even in that response, going back to what we said about what? Your position. What's your claim? What's the evidence You wouldn't have evidence to draw from if you haven't prepared, if you don't know a lot, if you're not knowledgeable about the idea. That's why it's important to be prepared. Read a lot about that idea or solution or innovation you're trying to pitch. Because it is when you are knowledgeable about it, you can draw from it. It will be evident. Your knowledge will be evident. You can draw life scenarios, real life scenarios, examples. You can use data. Remember the warrant. And then you link to the bigger picture or impact. It brings us back to the same ideas and frameworks we've learned. And it's closely linked to your first question, building structure practically. Again, I just did that practically now. So what did I say in answering your question? For instance, I used numbers. Oh, first, preparation. Second, be calm. Third, be knowledgeable. Three things. What else did I do? I linked it to a framework that you can use whenever you're trying to speak in public, whenever you're trying to structure. Structure means what? Using structure. You can use an acronym, you can use numbers. I just did that practically in this Q&A session. So that's how you practice. Low stakes opportunities like this. Little by little, you get better. Your brain will be conditioned to think in a logical manner. I don't have a prepared speech for this Q&A. You ask me, oh, how do we handle objections? What's the first thing that comes to mind? Preparation, number one. Number two, be calm. Number three, be knowledgeable. Three things. You shouldn't have to mention 10 things. I hope that helps. Did I answer your question?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great.
Thank
So
you,
you're
ma'am.
going to practice that. Is that who is speaking? Who is speaking? Tell me. Is that Ramotala? I'm not sure.
No, ma'am, Miriam.
Miriam, great, great, great. Yes. So, Miriam, you're going to practice that. Tell me something you believe in, an idea you like to share with people.
Okay, ma'am.
Something that you know about. You know, we spoke about knowledge. Knowledge is very valuable in trying to speak impromptu or even respond to objections because you can speak from a place of knowledge, not from a place of noise. Knowledge, that's important. So, I want you to choose something that you're knowledgeable about.
Okay. It's something I was working on recently, but I'll try to use this framework for that. Is on the silent epidemic of hypertension management in Nigeria. How there are like loopholes in in management of hypertension. So the
Okay,
claim
so
is that
what's your okay, the claim. Okay, go on. But you know,
okay,
when you're speaking, you wouldn't say the claim is that. But go
okay,
on.
ma'am. Okay.
Because while I was speaking, did I say the claim is, the
No, ma'am.
evidence is, the warrant is, so the impact is no. So you are the one who knows that in your head, and then you tie everything together in a logical flow so that it sounds like a great speech. Go on.
Okay. Nigeria healthcare system lacks affordable tools that help support continuous hypertension self-management. Most of the existing interventions or like what we have in the hospital
No need for
presently.
or like, you see, or like. That's a filler word. You don't need or like. Okay, go on.
Okay. So most in the existing intervention focus on hospital treatment, medication, visiting the doctors, or going to the pharmacy to check their BPs. So most of so few of these patients have functioning um mm, functioning technology like the BP cuff machine at home. Most of them rely on the most of them rely on these pharmacy or chemists around to check their BPs. Most of the time most of the time this the document there's no documentation as most of the values are there's no documentation on the
So
part
what you
of the
can say is, so
patient.
you are finding a problem with the fact that people do not have the device, right? Why is that a problem? This is a problem because, remember the because test. This is a problem because one, it results in poor documentation of BP values, thereby resulting in poor continuity of care. Second, this is a problem because, third, this is a problem because, you see, it's more
Okay.
structured that way. And you can
Yes, ma'am.
make your brain think about the next thing to say, as opposed to just going with the flow.
Okay.
Structuring also helps your brain stay conditioned so that you're prepping it to say the next thing. Okay, try that.
Okay, ma'am. So I want to start from I'll start from the evidence, like the millions.
No, you
One.
are still trying
Okay.
to tell us about the problem, the claim. Okay, which is the
Okay.
evidence, right? Why is it a problem? Yeah, go on.
One out of 3 to 5 people households in Nigeria have hypertension, whether diagnosed or undiagnosed. Most people go around one. People go around with this silent killer without being aware. Two, the pa- secondly, the percentage of the class of people aware, the percentage of people who are informed about who are diagnosed do not take their medications. And three, there's
Calm down, calm down. It will come to you.
so, and the third one is there. There's poor documentation of this. There's poor documentation of BP values over time, making treatment difficult on the part of doctors.
Okay.
Okay. So based on the evidences, patients come to the
Based on the
hospital.
evidence,
Based on the evidence,
plural is still evidence without S. Go
okay.
on.
Patients come to the hospital without full knowledge about their records over time, and this 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 in this
You're
causes.
repeating the same thing you said because you mentioned that in your reasons. Okay. What
Mhm,
other ideas do you have? Go on.
mhm.
You don't want to be repetitive. Go on.
For a lot of Nigerians, going to the pharmacy is like the first point of care or contact for blood pressure management. So they just go in, they check their BP, and then they hear the readings, and then they go. Along the line, there can be loss of information, either through like mm-mm. There can be loss of information as a result of forgetfulness or loss of paper slip as a result of mal let me
What
calm
change
down.
is your solution bringing?
Okay, it's
What
going to
proposition do you have?
the solution is a health is like health record management to help patients log in their values, BP values over time, and then notice the trend.
Mm.
So it's going to help with identification of all uncontrolled hypertension, and it will further establish. Okay,
But you're
there
doing
will be a
well.
bet-
You're doing well. You're doing
okay,
well.
there will be a better communication between patients and doctors without having any as there will be better communication between the patient and the doctors without necessarily having new infrastructures or devices in place.
Okay. All right. So what's your call to action? How do you want to end?
The call to action
No need to say the call to action is I tell you, oh, my conclusion is I went into it. I entered into it. You can
is okay.
use transition words. Finally, in
Okay.
conclusion,
Finally,
therefore.
okay. Finally,
Mhm.
Heartbeat NG is a mobile first platform which helped to
You see, SBNG. Why are you just bringing SBNG at the end? We never knew what SBNG was from the beginning. Do you see?
mm,
You didn't fully introduce your idea to us, so you're bringing it at the end. Do you see where there is a break in logic?
yes, ma'am.
That's something to think about. So go on.
This addresses this gap by transforming routine blood pressure checks into a persistent health record and improving patient understanding, then also supporting clinicians' decision making.
Are you reading
Thereby,
that or you're saying that from memory?
I'm reading this now.
You're doing what?
I'm reading this.
Exactly, because I can tell the difference. The the essence of this is for you to be able to say it from memory. This is an impromptu class, so to speak. There will be some difference, yes, when you have prepared. It should be better structured, you have better words and so on and so forth. But you asked me, what was your second question? Handling objections under pressure. Being in an impromptu situation is some form of pressure. You're running away from the pressure. Miriam, why are you running away from the pressure? You quickly went to find your prepared speech. No, you already started well. You're trying to adjust to an impromptu situation, thinking fast. Remember what I said, thinking fast, thinking critically, and talking smart, even when you seem least prepared. Because when you are very prepared, yeah, you will have a lot to share. But when you are not prepared, that's when the stakes are even higher. Go on,
Okay.
wrap up your conclusion.
Fast-based engine a is not just another it's not just another new tool or new technology to displace what is already available, but is to address and assist to address and also to address the reality of Nigerian healthcare, especially for hypertensive patients. And this in the long run will improve the health of the patient through through controlled BP monitoring, medication adherence, and increase in the lifespan of the citizens at large, of the patients
Okay,
at
all
large.
right. Good try, good try. Well done. How do you feel?
Mm,
How do you feel, Miriam?
I feel good. Like a part, something that I'm cringing about. I actually cut it out to say, so it's fine. Like as you said, practice make perfect. So, but then
Practice
now
makes
I
you
don't
better.
feel
Yes.
anything. Like yes, like as if a bulk of the load is out. Like initially, when somebody is under pressure, you be like, you start like cringing. Then
Mm,
later on, as you're trying to like get the thoughts out, you see a clearer picture of things.
good. Did you find it easier having some structure to work with to organize your thoughts as you said them?
Mm. Please, but can you come again the question?
Did you find having a structural framework to work with helpful as you
Yes,
organize
ma'am.
your thoughts?
Yes, ma'am. It's much more better.
Fantastic. So yeah,
Mhm.
that's how you build the structure practically. You answered your question because you just did it practically. Thanks for asking your question, Miriam. Okay, I
Thank you,
see
ma'am,
that
for
we have
answering
more
this.
questions. You're welcome in the chat. Let's see. The biggest takeaway, okay, takeaways, Benjamin, thanks, is that Jen focused on speaking fast and sounding impressive. It's good to focus on being impressive too. But yeah, don't let that be the be all of your speech. Focus on making clear points, absolutely. Because if you focus on making clear points, explaining your points well, supporting with evidence, and responding thoughtfully, you will sound impressive. Yes, good. Thanks for sharing that, Benjamin.
Good afternoon, ma.
Okay, good afternoon.
I'm Rahmatullah. I actually
Okay.
have two questions.
Okay.
You you said something about persuasion. So I'm talking about that when a speaker wants to like start a conversation, you get there has to be some like attention grabber,
Sorry, what did you
and
say? What did you say? What did you say?
there has to be something like the first introduction to the speech is what entices people and captures their attention. So I'm asking
Mhm.
that what type of attention grabber would you like suggest? There are different types emotional. Some just feels boring. There's one like storytelling. Some you just have to like say something that will capture them emotionally. And there's also some that, oh, a very beautiful phrase.
Yeah.
Which do you think is more persuasive? My second question. You said something about we should read books and on communications, a YouTube video on Think Fast. Hey, Think Fast, Talk Smart.
Talk smarter. Go on. Are you still there? It seems Ramatula has a network glitch. Okay, I think she's trying to rejoin. Okay. While we wait for Ramatula to rejoin, I'll go on to read some of the comments we have in the chat. Pascal, thanks for sharing your key takeaway. A key takeaway is the application of ethos, pathos, and logos in communicating your idea and persuading your stakeholders. When sharing your idea to an audience, it will not depend only on your credibility and logic, but how people can relate with it emotionally. Yeah, good. Great point, Pascal. Thanks for sharing that. Helena, I also think we need to master the art of reading the room, okay? That's a good point. Absolutely. The way we engage stakeholders in a diplomatic setting is different from how we communicate in activist spaces. Both approaches have their place, but it it's important to, let me read that fully. It's important to adapt our tone to the audience. You do have a great point in order to make advocacy much more effective. You do have a great point. Reading the room is very important. Emotional intelligence is important. Cultural intelligence is important. Those are very valuable in helping you to read the room and read the audience. Absolutely. I do agree with you. Communication isn't black and white. It's not effective communication isn't all about frameworks. It's way beyond that. Yes, some of the things we've learned, you're paying attention to your tone, your eye contact, your body language. Yes, it's also very interpersonal. Communication is very interpersonal. In diplomatic settings, there are even diplomatic rules to be observed in diplomatic settings. In activist spaces, absolutely, depending on who is in the room. And activism is also it also differs from space to space. Are you talking about street activism, boardroom activism? So there's a lot to consider there. Thanks for sharing that valuable point, Helena. I see that our admin also asked, how do we build ourselves to have an opinion or a view in this age of information
I
overload
give
and
up.
content creation? Ramasala, you could hold on a bit. I see you're back. Welcome back. So the admin is asking, how do we build ourselves to have an opinion or a view in this age of information overload and content creation? How do we build critical thinking capacity? Also in this age of AI, ChatGPT, Claude, helping us to generate ideas quick. This is a very important question, a critical one that I also keep asking myself from time to time. How do we build ourselves to have an opinion or view in this age of information overload and content creation? I think it's going back to the basics, going back to the basics of forming, having the art, building the art of knowing. How do you know things? How do you sharpen your knowledge? How do you sharpen your mind? Going back to the basics, reading, reading quality books. I started to build my own mini library so that I could invest time in reading. I've got a few books on my table here. Some I've started to read, some I haven't. but there is one here we see, thinking in systems, because I want to sharpen my mind. I want to sharpen my mind as a healthcare leader, a health systems innovator. You see, quality books. It's not just Bella Naija or Zikoko. Those ones are good too. I still read a few Zikoko articles this morning. I read Zikoko a lot. I think their writers are phenomenal. I love their stories. But beyond that, beyond reading what people write on Instagram and LinkedIn, we want to invest in quality knowledge. Quality knowledge in the area of your growth, in your industry, or your areas of interest. How to influence and influence people. You see, reading is important. Surrounding yourself with people who do likewise, who read, who invest in their mind, because when they speak, you learn from them. So reading, surrounding yourself with people who think critically, who invest in their knowledge, that's important. I think those two will help us to be able to form better opinions in this age of information overload and content creation. And I believe it aligns with your second question around building critical thinking capacity in this age of AI. I mean, we should leverage AI. I leverage AI even in my preparation, but I did not suspend my own thinking just because I leveraged AI. First, knowledge is evident. You can tell that, oh, this is something I know about. This is something I have experience in. You can tell that. I'm not giving you GPT gibberish, am I? No. But you should leverage artificial intelligence. In fact, I created my deck with AI, with Gemini. I typically use Gamma AI for decks. The Gamma AI has a very boring feel to it that makes it very detectable that it's AI generated. So I used Gemini for the first time to create this deck and it turned out nice. I did make a few edits. Do you see? Critical thinking, because I can also apply the knowledge, the initial knowledge that I have, the foundational knowledge I have. Therefore, I can revamp whatever AI gives to me. That's important. So going back to the basics of building your own knowledge is critical. Really, really important. Investing in knowledge. Being in a community like this where you learn from healthcare leaders, important because you expand your capacity, you build your knowledge base, you interact with emerging healthcare leaders like yourself in the same room when you work on projects, when you collaborate, when you share ideas. Do you see? You build your knowledge base, you build your critical thinking skills through that way. And you still continue to leverage AI. I recently subscribed to Google Pro subscription that gives me access to certain AI content creation tools because you can't afford to be left behind. You must leverage AI on a continuous basis. But yeah, you must ensure that you don't lose yourself, you don't lose your intellectual ability, even as you leverage external support in form of AI. Great question. Great question. Ramatula, welcome back. No, I haven't answered your question yet. I was waiting for you to return to the room. So your first question was around tips for attention grabbers and which is more persuasive. You're going to share with us your second question. Can proceed. Tell us your second question.
So I was like, I would really appreciate your recommendations. Like, which ones would you like prescribe to us that we should read and I'll be very effective.
What's your second question?
I said, you said we can read communication books and just watch videos. I always like noted the video name. So I was like, which book would you recommend for us to read?
Okay, books. Okay, good. Thanks for that. First question, attention grabbers. I mean, I couldn't know if there is one kind of attention grabber that is particularly most effective. I think it's context dependent. So it depends on the context, it depends on the topic, it depends on the audience. Some people could start out with a joke. They are humorous by nature. I am not humorous, so I would never start a presentation with a joke because it will fall flat. For some people, it will come in handy because that's a strength. I started this presentation with a question. What distinguishes good speakers from not so good speakers? And start with a question. You can start with another form of question that plays on the topic under consideration. What if I told you that everything you knew about public speaking was wrong? What if I told you that the real reason you're in this room is wrong? Maybe it will scatter the entire room. That can be attention grabbing. Yeah, attention grabbing. Yeah, can use questions to start a presentation. And there's an art to it, knowing how to phrase the question. The right tone to use in asking that question. There's an art to it. And it comes by observation. When you see people who know how to do it well, and it comes with practice. When you choose to also do it. Just like Miriam tried to implement the key frameworks we learned in this class. So questions are good. You can also use facts and statistics. 70% of global maternal mortality is recorded in Nigeria or recorded in sub-Saharan Africa. Whatever values, whatever facts or statistics you can gather, you can also use that to start. Remember, you're going to build upon that. Why? What's the so what? Why is that important? Why are you telling us that? So you can start with a fact or a statistic. You can start with a rhetorical question. You can start with a joke. You can also start with a story, like you mentioned. The story should be short, it should be succinct. It should also be relatable and related to the topic under consideration so that you don't lose your audience. Again, you need to know yourself. You need to know what you're comfortable with. You need to understand the context and the audience, and that guides you in identifying the best attention grabber for that situation. I hope that helps, Miriam. The second question around books,
Yes,
resources. Great. Second question around books, resources. There are tons of books on public speaking. There is the art of public speaking. Yes. There's a valuable book I read many years ago, The Art of Public Speaking by Dale Carnegie, I believe. Yes, I read that. That's a good book that you can read. There is also this book, Thinking in Systems, because it helps you to think in frameworks. That helps you. At the core of public speaking is what? The goal of influence. You want to influence people by what you say. You want to move people. You want to inspire people. How to win friends and influence people. Yeah, it may be seen as a book for networking, for relationship building. At the core of relationship building is communication. It's also a good book. You can get some communication tips from it. So these are some books I would recommend. You'll find there's also another book because there are different public speaking scenarios, right? Say you attend a friend's wedding and you're asked to give a toast. If you want to adapt your public speaking to different contexts beyond pitches and arguments and logical presentations, there is a book by Joyce Daniels. She's Nigerian. Joyce Daniels. Before you speak, read this. That's the title of the book. before you speak, read this. You can order it on her website. You can check her out on Instagram. She's very active on Instagram, Joyce Daniels, Joyce Daniels. Check out her website. You can order the soft copy or hard copy of the book. When I first got the book, I finished it in one fell swoop at once because I really enjoyed it. I valued it a lot, and I always recommend it in my public speaking coaching sessions. I hope that helps. Ramatula, thanks for your great questions. Do you have any other questions?
So, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
You're
No,
welcome.
thank you.
You're welcome. Do we have any other questions? If we don't, do we have a final volunteer? Somebody who would like to practice everything we've learned today? Someone who is bold enough to practice what we've learned today? Sharing a public health or digital health idea that they have, that they care about, and they want to pitch it to us using the framework that we learned today. Anyone? Miriam already did that. Let's have one more person.
I volunteer.
You would volunteer.
Yes, I'll start like this. I just hope my network cooperates with me. So,
Okay. All right.
oh my God. Every second delayed is a life denied. What if I tell you with MedID, there is every life will be saved? So it is designed to like help everyone have their medical histories on the site. It's just like a BVN to every
Refrain from
every
using just like. It's just like you're
okay.
trivializing what you're saying. It's just no, it is like. You need for just like because the statement still makes sense without the just. That tells you the just is not relevant. Go on.
It is like a BVN to every citizen. It's not just it's not just an app or
just.
oh my God. Okay.
Can say it's
It's
not
not
merely an app. Replace
it's
just
not
with a better word.
it's not merely an app. It is an opportunity to save a life. Because what if what if someone drops unconscious on the side on the road and taken to a nearby hospital? The treatment given to him he might be allergic to it. So with MedID, there is a solution. A life is saved. And am I trying? Oh my God.
Go on. Yeah.
Life is saved. And according to WHO, statistics says 3 out of 10 million people are going to die, are actually losing their lives because of losing their lives because of lack of information. Would it be heard as an excuse to say the reason why so lost their relative was not because lack of equipment, lack of doctors or medical professionals? It is just because of information. As little as it is a very vital, oh my God, it's very vital in saving lives and very important. So, I think I'm done.
No, you're not done. You should continue.
I don't have it. I'm thinking, okay, let me try to continue. So, one out of 10, 1 out of 10 people die in the hospital every hour because of this lack of information and lack of because of this lack of information. So MedID is designed to help to state the allergies, the medical histories, surgery performed, whether the person is sickle cell, blood group, blood type, and other ailments. Also chromosome deficiencies, all those things. So you'll be able to know how accurate you are. You will also have a medical accurate record of the person. Then treatment is going to be start. So I think I'm dwelling on one point. One point that you said.
You're dwelling on one point. Tell us
Yes.
about your solution. How does it work? Why is this valuable? Why is this better than some of the others in the market? How do you hope to bridge the gaps? especially the
Okay.
issues that you know are existent with medical records. How will yours make a difference?
Okay. Mine will make a difference because it is like an identity card to every citizen of the country. So it's something everybody carries around. I have to imagine I have to do something right now. I already have my NIN with me on my phone. So it's just kind of like it can be a QR code, it can be an app, it can be anything, but just something easily accessible.
How is it different from the others in the market that are also similar to NIN?
It is it is different because this one is not just going to meet the people that they have the money or anything. It is also for the less privileged, those that you don't actually even need a gadget. You just have to have the identification number. Anybody, any doctor, any medical practitioner can log in and I don't access your details. And it's also going to be something like it's personalized. I can't see yours, you can't see mine, except I have your details. You understand? Imagine if every phone has an emergency number, emergency contact. But what if the emergency contact is on DND? The MedID stands as a rescue opportunity. So that's why I think it is different from other ones. I've not made research on other ones that are like of in this line of I don't know of age. But I think that should be something that stands out with it. So that is thank you very much. I really
All
appreciate the
right.
opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Does anyone have additional feedback or comments for Ramatola? Any comments or feedback for Ramatola? Share in the chat, share in the chat, share in the chat. Feedback, ability to give feedback is also important. It's a part of communication too, because you have heard someone, you have thought about it. Articulating what you have heard is also a skill. Articulating what you have heard in a clear way and effective way is also important. That's a skill that we should all seek to build. As we wrap up, I will conclude with a few videos that I think would be valuable for you. Okay, yeah, of course. So it's all about structure, 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 organizing your thoughts and following the framework, yes. And with practice, you get better. With practice, you get better. When you have the framework in mind, you will see that you would ramble less. You would ramble less. Okay, this is Joyce Daniels. I mentioned her earlier. Let's watch some of her videos. Will be better. Hmm.
All right. While we wait for our facilitator to try to fix the video, um, Okay, is she back?
You see the mistake that your guy, your coordinator, the mistake that he's doing, making the errors. You have the opportunity to communicate with him in a softer manner.
Ramatu, I've mute you. Okay, while we wait for her to try to play the video for us, um for next week, there won't be any session, but I would love to encourage everyone to try to practicalize all we've learned. The recording of this session is available, so I will send it out within the week. Okay, I think she's back.
Oh, it seems
Hi.
I was
Yes.
apologies. Let me
Okay. Welcome back.
thanks.
You to mess up. So why do you want to give your audience members reason to doubt you even before you begin?
We can't see your screen yet.
Yeah, I'm resharing. Can you see it now?
Is this mic on? Is it working?
Not
Can
yet.
you?
Not
Your-
yet.
What about now?
It's actually blank. Okay. Yes, we can. We can. We can.
Oh, okay, great.
Maybe sweating,
Let
your
me start it first.
voice signals, lights are hot on you.
Okay.
I don't know if it's just my network, but the network is a bit
Can you still
poor.
see it loading?
Yes, it's loading. Yeah.
Can you still see my screen loading?
Yes, yes.
Oh, okay, fantastic. All right. Okay. Why is it slow? Oof.
Hundred or 400 professionals, lights are hot on you. Everyone is watching. Your
Not sure what's happening.
Okay, Ma, if the network is not allowing us, maybe you just send the link, then we'll send
Yeah.
it, and we'll send it out in the community so everyone will, take out their time. Okay.
Let me try again.
Okay.
Yeah, sounds good. I can do that. Okay, let me do that. Okay, so I'll share that in the chat now so that I can watch her speech. So I just shared that in the chat. Must have received it already. Yeah, so check that out by Joyce Daniels. I'm going to see if I can share another Joyce Daniels video. Maybe valuable. Let me see. Okay, so I've got this from Nervous to Natural. How to manage anxiety. Not many people were as bold as Miriam and Ramatala today. It took a lot of guts for them to volunteer to speak, to even ask your questions. So that's very good. Both of you should be proud of yourself. If you're still in the Anxiety zone. I hope that video helps you. All right, it has been a pleasure speaking with you all today. I hope that you have gained some valuable insights that will help you to elevate your public speaking journey. Don't forget, structure makes great speakers stand out. If you want to move from not so good to great, pay attention to structure. Structure everything you say. Use numbers. Use a framework. Use something as simple as, oh, I'm going to think about this from advantages and disadvantages perspective. The advantages that I see are 3. The advantages that I see are 2. Use structure. There are 3 reasons why you should pay attention to this. There are 2 reasons why this is valuable. Use numbers. Implement the framework that we have learned today. Keep learning, keep listening to great speakers, and you will be surprised at how fast you will soar. Thank you so much for having me. And thank you to Eureka and her team.
Thank you so much, Ma. We appreciate your time. And you won't get tired of us. We'll keep calling you because each time it's value upon value. Thank you so much. We truly appreciate. Thank you. All right. We won't have sessions next week, but I will advise everyone it's best we practice all we've learned. It's not just getting the knowledge, it's how well you can implement it. And the best way to learn is when you practice often. As our facilitator, she emphasized that we should practice, practice, and practice, and we'll get better at what we do. So the link we will put both the link she sent to us, the YouTube link, I'll put it on the community, and also the recording within the week we'll have it. And the previous session we'll try to get materials for us also. We should take next week and the I think we are going on a 2 weeks break, and the following week also to touch base with all this, so that when we come back the next session we can take it in also. It's not just taking it value and not taking time to work on it. And we have other activities within the community. Please take out time to be part of it. You're here to learn. We are here to impact you. And that's the best thing we can do. Having you here is just to, make this career path of being in digital health easy for everyone the best way we can. That's our goal, our vision, that you coming out from school, you're well equipped with all the skills needed to soar high, to be a leader. So stay tuned, always be active within the community, and thank you all for your time. Thank you everyone. Do enjoy the rest of your weekend. We'll call it a day. Bye everyone.